Alright. I'm gonna side dress corn today. At least what little corn I got. First things first, I gotta get the 1950 switched over to 540. I still got the 1000 shaft in it from chopping stalks last fall. This is actually easier than on the 55s because the PTO is just held in with a snap ring. You don't got all the bolts to take out, which it would have been nice, kind of nice if they'd stuck with this system, just because it's so much easier. But when they went to that 4-bolt flange, they made it's a lot stronger on the 55 series. So, and this thing leaks oil because the seal's going bad. That was going to be one of the things to get fixed on it. One of the things I wanted to get fixed on it this winter, because I was going to tear the hydraulics off of it and rebuild it, and while I had the hydraulic unit off, I was going to go through the PTO. Well, now with all the projects lining up and the way grain prices are right now, I think this might have to wait another year. But we shall see. Damn it. And there's that. Okay, we're gonna start out here in this shit show of a field. Although it's surprisingly not my worst one, which is makes you feel real good when something that looks this shitty isn't the worst one. But anyhow, bulk density, and then need about 3.5 on the gate, right? Yep. So, actually, not too much. Somewhere a little bit over 3.5. So I want about 200 pounds. And I really hate these spreaders because they don't got the hydraulic web engage. This is a cold. Normally, I do like 90% of my fertilizer business with Helena, but our Helena doesn't have spreaders that will straddle 30-inch rows, so I gotta get my urea from Co-Alliance. And I hate dealing with Co-Alliance because they just suck. Well, for instance, just going and getting this spreader this morning turned into a shit show. I got there. Well, that's part of the reason I need to get my PTO rebuilt on this thing, is because the clutch dragged, because it never got used before I bought the tractor. But anyhow, some of it can be taken out with adjustment. I need to get that done. But anyhow, that spreader, I got there at 9:30. I was the only one there getting dry. Everybody else that was there for picking up fertilizer was getting 28 and starter fertilizer, because there's still a few guys finishing up planting. So I was the only one there for dry. Had 6 spreaders there, 2 of which were the narrow tracks like I need, so I hooked up to a spreader. Go across the scale. I told her all I need is urea. Says okay, so I pull underneath the conveyor, and I sit there, and I sit there, and I sit there for about 20 minutes before somebody actually shows up to start loading me, or loading the blender anyhow. I was getting to the point where I was just going to jump in a skid steer and load it because it's the same Doyle blender and scale system that we had at the farm I used to work at, so I know how to run the damn thing like the back of my hand. But, so it took me 20 minutes to even get somebody there to load the scale, or to load the blender, because apparently in their Infinite Wisdom they only have 2 guys in the whole place that are trained to run the blender, and neither one of them were at the plant. So got that, and then on that blender you got the conveyor comes up, and then there's like 2 foot at the top of the belt, and then they got a boot around it, and the belt throws the fertilizer into the boot, and the boot shoots it straight down. So you got to be offset to one side underneath the belt, otherwise it will throw it off to one side of the spreader and trickle it out on the ground and everything. So I'm where I need to be. Well, apparently the guy that they sent out there to film me hadn't run that blender a whole lot, and he looks at it and he says, "You need to move back closer to the blender. You're not centered underneath the belt." Well, no, I'm not centered underneath the belt. I'm centered underneath the boot because that's where I need to be. This ain't my first rodeo, dude. And I got 7,000 pounds, and that 7,000 pounds of urea in them spreaders, because it's so light, that is heaps. You got to drive back and forth and shovel to get that thing to fit 7,000 pounds of urea. So not only was I offset to one side, I was pulled all the way forward so that I could back up and finish filling the spreader out even. He's like, you need to pull over and get centered up underneath that belt, or it's going to be all over the place. I'm like, no, I don't. You need to be here. Well, he wasn't going to start loading me till I moved, so I moved, and he loaded the blender up and starts unloading, and guess what? Because I'm centered underneath the belt and not underneath the boot, it's damn near hitting the edge of the spreader, and half of it's going out on the ground. He walks out, doesn't say a fucking word. I pull back over right where I was when I started. He started loading me just like I needed to be in the first place. So it was an hour fucking ordeal just to get that spreader. And that is why I hate Co-Alliance. I know there's good ones and bad ones. Ours is fucking terrible. It has not been the same since Co-Alliance bought out Co-op. So anyway, that was the spreader ordeal this morning. This field's been sprayed, and I'm not too impressed with my kill, because it's been a week. I sprayed, not quite, it's been 6 days. I sprayed this last Sunday. I mean, I'm getting the kill, it's just been slow, which I think is partly because of the heat and humidity. Some of my replant's coming up, not all of it, because some went into wet spots and others didn't. And I was out here Thursday poking around after we got a half-inch of rain on Wednesday, and I was found kernels that were sprouting. So hopefully this fills in better in a week or so. You can start to see them. Otherwise, it's just going to look like hell all season. So what else? All the corn sprayed. I started spraying beans last night. I was going to spray more beans this morning, but it got too windy, and then the wind died down. But I need to get this urea spread because the corn's getting tall enough, except everywhere except fucking here. The corn's getting tall enough that if I waited another week, like I like to, because we don't have any chances of rain for another 7 days, and we need rain bad now. We're getting to the point where we're going to be in the beginnings of a drought. Never thought I'd say that the way this season's been going, but like I say, normally I'd like to spread urea right before rain so you don't lose any. The rain works it into the ground. Well, a lot of my corn's getting tall enough that if I don't get urea spread now, I'm going to start tearing the corn up trying to get over it with one of them low wheel spreaders. So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And today's supposed to be cool, so I won't lose a whole lot. And then tomorrow we're supposed to flip-flop, supposed to start getting hot again. So we should have a pretty decent dew in the morning, and that'll help push it into the ground. So there's just no right and wrong decision this year. Everything just sucks. So anyhow, Guess I ought to get moving because I already wasted enough time jerking around trying to get this whole goat rodeo going this morning, so. Yep, let's roll. Well, there's one field done. I want to go throw up now. Cover ground like this makes you just want to go home and go back to bed. This is ridiculous. But anyhow,
in the mirror and seen a man I ain't ever seen, and who I've become ain't who I used to be. Face like a road map, eyes bloodshot red. I can't get the noise out from inside my head. Foothill of a mountain, these bills where I sit, looking up from the bottom makes a man wanna quit. But I ain't no quitter, no sense to start now. I'm getting back on the saddle to try to figure out how to doubt my doubts and believe my I can't see. Faith is protection that money can't buy. When the rain ain't came and the feed runs dry, crawling through the dark is hard to see. Gotta down my doubts and believe my beliefs. Flipping coins down inside a well, making wishes on stars that still I'll try, asking the Lord if He'll help me get by. To doubt my doubts and believe my beliefs, and not be afraid of things I can't see. Faith is protection that money can't buy. When the rain ain't came and the field runs dry, crawling through the dark is hard to see. Gotta down my doubts, believe my doubts and believe my beliefs, and not be afraid of things I can't see. Faith is protection that money can't buy. When rain ain't came and the field runs dry, crawling through the dark is hard to see. Gotta down my doubts, believe my beliefs. Looked in the mirror and seen a man I ain't never seen, and who I've become ain't who I used to be.
Well, folks, I just don't know if I did any good. That every time I run over that corn ground, I don't know what to do with it. I gotta give it another week, see how much of my replant comes up, because we were supposed to get more rain than what we did, because I got that replant in the ground. Oh, I got the muck in the ground last Friday, and that was my last replant, and the rest of it got put in last Thursday, I think. Pretty sure it was last Wednesday, last Thursday. And we were supposed to get rain on Monday, and we didn't get anything. We were supposed to get rain on Tuesday, and we didn't get anything. We were supposed to get rain and thunderstorms on Wednesday, and we only ended up getting a ½ inch. And now our next chance of rain isn't until next Saturday, and then it's only a 30% chance. And we got chances of rain all next week, but it's like 20% chance of showers, 30% chance of showers, 10% chance of showers. And if we don't get any rain, any of the replant that comes up is going to sprout and die, because the ground's going to dry out. The ground's already dry. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this after the way that the beginning of the spring went, but we need an inch and a half of rain, and we need it bad. We don't need a big pounding hard get it all in an hour. We need like an inch of rain over like 8 to 16 hours, just nice, steady, soaking in, doing some good rain, and we're not going to get it unless some miracle happens. So, I don't know. If we don't get some rain soon, the corn's done. The last beans that I planted over there on my uncle's, those will probably be done. I don't know. Hopefully it gets better. I always get really, really super fucking stressed this time of year until about July, because by that time everything's up and you know what you got. And right now you're in that stage where everything's still trying to come up and you don't know what you have, and you're just sitting there looking at it going, oh my God, what did I do wrong? So, and it's not even like it's the planter and the drill that I use. I mean, right around the corner from here, there's two fields, one right across the road from each other, that the biggest guy in town, he farms, and he no-tilled them, that both of those in the same week I started all my planting. And his planter is like a 2-year-old 24, it's either a 16 or a 24-row lift and pivot Kinsey, like $350,000 planter. His emergence on that no-till ground was 10 times worse than any of my fields. I mean, his stuff was so bad that he runs 2 planting tractors. Actually, he might be up to 3 planting tractors now. When I worked for him, he had 2 planting tractors. But he had so many issues with emergence that he took one of his planting tractors and it was completely dedicated to replant. It was not putting in a single first-time seed. He pulled that off of his first round of planting, and it was strictly going around doing replant. That's how bad of a time he had. So, I mean, it's not like I'm the only one around here having issues with this because I farm with shit. But looking around at everybody else having issues doesn't make me feel any better about it. You can't get over it. And one of them, actually the father-in-law of the girl that was running that Challenger in the video I got the other day, he stopped over to get a hose. Wednesday or Thursday. And he was talking to me, asking me how things were looked, and I told him how everything looked like shit, and how I wish I'd have just waited to get started instead of trying to get planted there in May. And he says, you know, I've been doing this long enough that sometimes you just got to realize that you made the best decision you possibly could with the information that was available to you at the time, and wishing doesn't get anything done. And he said sometimes there are no winners. You got to roll with the punches. And those are real wise words. It just doesn't make me feel any better about the fact that all the corn looks like fucking garbage. The beans, they don't look bad. I think the beans are going to pull through. I got one field that I probably should have done a little replant in, but the grass was also kind of thick and I couldn't really tell how many beans were there. So we'll see how it looks. I got that sprayed yesterday, so we'll see how that looks. But all my other bean fields surprisingly don't look that bad. But the corn, it just got too goddamn wet and too goddamn cold for too goddamn long, and it just took its toll. And now you got to look at it the rest of the summer. If the replant comes up, it shouldn't be terrible. But if we don't get some rain to get the replant up, it's just, if I get the whole farm to average 100 bushel an acre, I'm going to be surprised. Just takes all the damn fun out of it. When you sit there and you know you're just throwing money away. But what can you do? It wouldn't be so bad if this wasn't the 4th year in a row. 2016... we got planted okay, and then it got dry. And, I mean, we were getting just enough rain to get things along. And it wasn't too bad, except for we had a really wet fall in 16, and we were mudding everything out, and it just wasn't fun. And then 17, we got planted all right. but then it just got wet and stayed wet, and it was a struggle getting side dressing done, and it was a struggle getting spraying done, and it was a struggle getting it off again. And then in 18, it was about like this year. We just played hell getting anything in the ground, and then it got hot and dry again, and then it got wet in the fall again, and the yield just wasn't there. Then last year, we couldn't get shit planted, and then it got hot and dry in the middle of summer again, and then we actually had a decent fall last year. It's just the fact that the whole season screwed the crop up, and there wasn't anything there to harvest. But we got most everybody got, well, a lot of guys got a lot of fall tillage done last year, so that was nice. And then this year we get that nice dry spell in May, and the weather's perfect, and the ground conditions are the best planting conditions we've seen since probably 2016. And Mother Nature just shits the bed all over it. And now we're going to get hot and dry, and then I'd be willing to bet that we have a damn wet fall, and we're going to be mudding everything out. So, I don't know. What do you do? But, anyhow, I guess that's enough of me being depressing for a while. Actually, I guess while I'm here, I'll show you the new toy. I don't know why, but Dad decided he wanted a mini excavator, so he bought a little 303, I think it's a 303C. Yeah, 303C Cat. Because if you're a real American and you want to move dirt, you buy a Cat. Although it sucks that it's made in the Mitsubishi plant in Japan, but basically Cat owns the plant. It's not like there's Cat excavators rolling off and that Mitsubishi excavators rolling off the same line. It's a dedicated Cat plant. And really, I don't know if there are any mini excavators made in the United States anymore. I think they're all Jap crap. But anyhow, that come up out of Florida. Dad got a pretty damn good deal on it for what it is. We're pretty sure it come off of or come from a concrete company, because there's concrete residue on the undercarriage, and he actually bought a second bucket. It came with a 12-inch. He bought that 24-inch. Then the 12-inch bucket's got concrete inside of it. And we're pretty sure it spent a lot of time running a jackhammer, because somehow they managed to crack the knuckle casting right here on both sides and fixed it. And the boom's the boom's a little slopped out on it, but it's not bad. It's a 2009, and it's only got 1,800 hours on it. They put brand new tracks on it before he bought it. They repainted it. I mean, the thing runs like a top, sounds good, but so you'll be seeing this in the future. We got some projects planned for it. I got one tile project I'd like to get done with it this summer. And when Dad's done over here doing some stuff that he wants to get done, it's probably going to end up going over to my house and doing some work around the barn. So we shall see. It's all going to depend on how much time we got. Just projects keep stacking up, and got to get wheat cut, and got to get at 80. Got to start working on that 8700, and just keep going and going and going. So anyway, I guess that does it for this one. We'll catch y'all on